a certain level of degenerate behavior that we have seen among our criminals, our criminal population. We've seen where it becomes a thing that people are willing to kill people for money, and that family members who should be taking care of each other, who should be looking about the interest of other family members, are not doing that, but are instead over property, over wealth, over items, are actually arranging and premeditating the killing of other family members. We saw that, as I say, most recently in this case. We saw it at an earlier case in Trelawney. We saw that in a case in St. Mary, where this sort of behavior has been playing out. My warning and advice in this case, or in these cases, is that even if you're disposed to do that, the likelihood of you getting away with it is quite low. In all of these cases, we have persons in custody. These cases have been solved. There may be one or two people we are still after, but largely you will not get away with it. Our intelligence resources are adequate to find out what has happened in these cases, and our responsiveness and our investigators have been following up very rapidly. Some of these cases are wrapped in 24 to 48 hours, some take longer. But that is the case. So my warning is that we don't do this. The other point that I'd like to make is that what we've been seeing is a certain fluidity of criminal action. People move back and forth across the country to commit crimes, to make arrangements with other gangs to do crimes on their behalf. And because we've seen this fluidity of operation, we have put in measures along our roadways to intercept and interrupt this and to detect. We are getting good intelligence on how people are moving and the routes they're taking. What we have seen is, again, the fluidity across police divisions in Lower Kingston, where disputes in one division play out in the other. The borders that we have set as our traditional policing borders create static lines, of which, of course, criminals don't recognize, and they fluidly move back and forth. And in that regard, we have implemented a number of strategies to deal with that fluidity across the lower belt. We have and increase our agility. We have, within the next few weeks, a whole rollout of a quick response and quick reaction team that can respond across all of that belt. They will be trained in the tactical use, and are being trained in the tactical use of motorcycles and their weapons to respond quickly to gang activities and other threats to the lower part of Kingston. We're continuing that process, and it's going to expand up into the northern part of Kingston and St. Andrew. We're also restructuring how we police Kingston as we speak, to remove some of those artificial boundaries that were traditional into a more fluid, citywide policing strategy.
Since 2016, we did about 6 major seizures. And of those 6 seizures, we have worked jointly with our international partners. One person was convicted last year in Miami. There is another seizure that took place in 2017, which led us to the investigation of the Dexter Street gang. 18 persons were arrested and the main witness disappeared. Out of that, the main perpetrator was arrested just December of last year, and has been charged with the trafficking of those firearms, among other charges. And we are working jointly with our international partner in respect to that same matter. There is another matter where 119 firearms were intercepted in Miami. That investigation is ongoing, and there's one in which I think it was 11 firearms were seized. We have actually started an anti-gang investigation. We have identified a number of gang members. We have identified the key players, and we are working jointly with our international partners. We have identified the main perpetrator from overseas, and one of the hindrance, one of the things that prevented us from progressing further is the COVID-19. We are well advanced, and so all of those major finds we have made headway, and we are making headway in those. The last find, there's a joint investigation between the JCF and our international partners, and it is ongoing, and I can guarantee that we're going to get to the bottom of that one as well.
So we're reducing the space with the tools available to us, and we're creating new tools to stop the gang violence and bloodletting on one sense, but to create an environment of greater safety, whether it's on our roads or in our commercial areas, and over the next, certainly over this year, we're focusing on more public safety, public order, whilst at the same time targeting those gang members and criminals who are bent on murder and murdering each other and the families and associates of other gang members.